Hello FPL managers and welcome back to another video from myself, Will, and fantasyfootballhub.co.uk. In this video, as always, we're going to be touching on how my team got on last week before moving on to my team of transfers and my captaincy ahead of the upcoming game week. We're also crucially going to be having a look at the latest double game week announcement. That's a double game week for Spurs in game week 32. Let's get into it. Okay, so this is how the team fared last game. It does seem like a while ago now, obviously blank game week 29. I'm not going to go into huge detail around it, but on the whole, not terrible, 51 points all out. A small rank drop of 44 places, so I'm going to pretty much consider that a grey arrow. My transfers in the end, I went for Cresswell and Bamford in. I removed Cancelo and removed Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I kind of like Cresswell for the end of the season, and he's been a really steady pick. Unfortunately, he got 0 points in game week 29, so that proving not to be the best transfer. But Bamford, on the other hand, coming in with 11-point haul. So yeah, very happy with those. The moves on the whole. Two transfers, 11 points. And so I'm pretty happy with those players going forward as well. Hopefully Bamford can recover from his knock. Elsewhere, Lingard, the absolute hero of the day, 12-point haul. Rafinha coming in with a nice 8-pointer, and captain Harry Kane coming in with 7 points, double to 14. Tierney, a little bit disappointed with him, but Arsenal have got some good upcoming fixtures as well. So on the whole, not a terrible game week, but not quite the week that I was hoping for. I had quite a few players playing. I didn't back Brighton mainly because I didn't have a free hit. If I had a free hit, it would have gone there. But yeah, I didn't really fancy Brighton's fixtures going forward. Didn't really want them in my team going forward. So I didn't back them, unfortunately. But if you played your free hit or you stacked up on Brighton players and you're wild carding them the next couple of weeks, then you really cashed in on that. So well played if you did that. Okay, this is the Fantasy Football Hub fixture ticket. If you want to try it out yourself, just go to fantasyfootballhub.co.uk/free trial. And as you can see, Spurs have a double game week in game week 32. They play Everton away and Southampton at home. So a really nice set of fixtures, actually. Everton have been pretty poor at home and Southampton have been pretty leaky in defence as well. So already, I'm looking at that. I'm thinking I've still got my triple captaincy to play. I'm pretty set on playing Kane as the triple captain, so long as he's fit and firing and, he's got the numbers that he's been producing in recent game weeks. That looks like a great opportunity to use the triple captainship. Potentially you could go Son if he's fit and firing as well. So yeah, I think for me that's a great double game week, and I'm certainly going to be looking to try and find a way to get Son into my team as well. Potentially Bell, potentially someone like Reguilon at the back in terms of the defense. I think the important thing to note here and the important thing to consider is that they do have a blank in game week 33, as you can see. Other teams also have a blank in game week 33, the likes of Manchester City, which a lot of players have, and also, Southampton and Fulham also blanking that game week. It's also worth saying that Crystal Palace, I know, hopefully you guys don't have a lot of Crystal Palace players, but they do have a blank in game week 32, so it is worth saying that. The other thing that is worth saying is that there are going to be more rearranged fixtures, that Everton-Aston Villa one, which we've been waiting to be rearranged for a long time, hasn't been rearranged. It's probably going to be happening, sometime between 34 and 38. It's really difficult for me to say at this point. Obviously, go follow the double game week maestro and the fixture planning maestro that is Ben Crellin. Highly recommend going following him. He's the go-to person, give you a better indication than I can of when these fixtures might be rearranged. But when he sort of has more clarity on that, I'll certainly share it on here as well. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. But overall, looking at these fixtures, I think it's definitely worth bringing in some Spurs assets for that double game week 32. I know they do blank in 33, but that's all about having a good squad, a good bench. And they've got a good fixture run after that. You can just see there Sheffield United at home and Leeds away in 34 and 35. So there are players that obviously, not going to play in 33, but hopefully you get some bench players in then. And they're players that you will want in place for the fixtures after that. There's a couple of other things that I just wanted to highlight here in the ticket. If you go forward a couple of weeks, and I think this is kind of important, certainly for my transfer plans, and you look at the fixture from game week 32 to game week 35, and as you can see, Arsenal and Leicester at the top there. So I'm thinking of making a double transfer in 32 to bring in Son and Ignacio from Leicester, and look at that Leicester run of fixtures: West Brom, Crystal Palace, Southampton, and Newcastle. Really, really nice run of fixtures. So I think it is worth targeting Leicester and Spurs in that run, and also potentially Arsenal. They've got some interesting assets as well. The other team that I think are potentially worth considering is Wolves. Now, the caveat there is that Wolves potentially could be on the beach, but this is a really, really nice run of fixtures: Sheffield United, Burnley, West Brom, and Brighton. Very, very. You couldn't ask for a better run of fixtures than that. So certainly worth considering Wolves assets as well. From this game week 32, I think there is certainly a fixture swing around this point. So kind of really important to look out for these fixture swings. And if you've got a wild card, for example, this is going to be probably a really nice time to play your wild card. There's no harm in going back a game week and looking at that fixture run. And actually, Arsenal, Spurs, Leicester, and Wolves also have a really nice run of fixtures. So did Liverpool. So yeah, you could play it in 31 as well. I think that if I was having a wild card, I'd play it in 31 or 32. I wouldn't be playing it this game because there is a bit of a fixture swing from 31 and 32 onwards. The other thing I would say there is, Liverpool have a pretty nice run of fixtures, as you can see there as well. I'm very happy holding Salah. The other player that I'm looking at is Diego Jota. I think both of those are going to be really, really good picks towards the end of the season. I know Liverpool haven't been performing particularly well, and they're still in the Champions League, and they might begin to prioritise the Champions League over the Premier League, but they're still fighting for that fourth place spot. So I do think that there's definitely some FPL points in there. Okay, jumping back to my team then, and going to talk a little bit about my sort of transfer plans for, not for the rest of the season, but certainly over the next few game weeks. This game week, pretty happy with the setup, pretty happy with how the team is shaped up. And, Kane captain currently on that. I would say that there's, Rafinha and Bamford have a pretty strong case. There's been a lot of talk about, Leeds being worse at home than they are away. And I don't necessarily buy that, to be honest. I'm going to quickly switch back to the comparison tool here. And I'm going to flick over to teams, and here we go. I was looking at this earlier, and I do think it is kind of interesting. So I'm going for the whole season so far today, and how I've sorted this is Leeds at home versus Leeds away from home. And as you can see, there's the defensive numbers here are on the left, but the attacking numbers here are on the right. And as you can see, Leeds have scored more goals away from home than they have at home, but if you look a little bit past that and you look at the underlying numbers, there's practically no difference here. These numbers are very, very similar, which suggests to me that they've probably been a little bit unlucky not to score more goals at home and a little bit more fortunate to score more goals away from home. So I'm not going to read too much into the fact that Leeds are playing Sheffield United at home as opposed to playing Sheffield United away from home. Having said that, you would expect a little bit of a bias to be, for the home team and for Leeds to be playing a home team, which is obviously shown in their defensive data, but it's not showing in their attacking data. So, that's something to potentially consider, is that, there isn't a home advantage for Leeds. And I think that, is probably due to the pitch and how the pitch is shaping up. But overall, if you're thinking about captain or Rafinha, if you're thinking about captain Bamford, then I wouldn't let this sort of home away bias that a lot of people have been talking about put you off necessarily. Okay, so just switching over to the Opta Stats tool to have a look at some of the recent stats and just dig a little bit deeper into who he thinks potentially the best captain. On the surface of it, you look at total shots over the last 6 game weeks, and Kane is completely bossing it. He's also bossing shots on target. He's also bossing shots inside the box. Okay, if we jump into Kane's player profile here as well, you can see his heat map there. He's such a dynamic player in terms of where he is on the pitch now. He's definitely evolved as a striker. The other thing that you can have a look at here, of course, is his fixtures and his projected points. And you can see that he's projected to score 6 points for the upcoming fixture against Newcastle. So that's pretty strong. And if we have a look at Rafinha here, who, to be honest, if I was to choose between Bamford and Rafinha, I'd definitely edge towards Rafinha. As you can see, his heat map is showing that he's more of a wide player, which, obviously makes sense. Nothing revolutionary there, but always interesting to have a look. And, you know, his projected points are 4.7, which is good, but it's, you know, significantly lower than Kane. So on balance, you know, if I had to choose between one of these two, and I do, of course, I'm certainly leaning towards Kane. But again, you know, if you want to take a little bit more of a riskier pick, then I think that Rafinha is a really, really good option. The one thing that I would say is that I think that Sheffield United at home is probably a better fixture than Newcastle away from home. If we sit over to the teams tab here, and we go down to defensive data, and you can look at, you know, the stat that I like to look at here is expected goals conceded. And as you can see, you know, so we're looking over the last 10 game weeks here. You can change this filter, you know, if you'd like to have a look at how it compares over the season, for example. But I'm going to use the last 10 game weeks as, you know, sort of a marker here. And as you can see, expected goals conceded, Sheffield United are top. They do seem to have, you know, nothing surprising here. We know Sheffield United have been, you know, the worst team this season, but they, you know, this is just sort of confirming that this is probably a really, really good fixture for Leeds. And I think how Leeds play as well, you know, they're certainly going to get a lot of chances. And as you can see, Newcastle are actually kind of mid-table here in terms of, you know, the defensive data and using this particular metric. So I would say that, you know, potentially Sheffield United is a better fixture, and, you know, Rafinha playing in midfield, he could go on and get a pretty big haul. So I wouldn't say that it's an absolute shoo-in for Kane's captaincy, but personally, you know, looking at all of this, looking at all of the data, looking at the predicted points, looking at the numbers and the stats, I would edge towards Kane. Okay, so jumping back to my team, I got a little bit carried away with the stats there, but I hope you did enjoy that section. If you did, please do drop it a like. And of course, if you want to try any of the tools and you're not yet a hub member, please do go and subscribe to the site, you know, completely free for 7 days. But going back to my team and how it's looking for the upcoming fixtures, I'm pretty happy with how it's set up. You know, if I was to wildcard, it wouldn't look fundamentally different to this. You know, I certainly there are players and teams particular that I do really like the look of. As we said, I touched on Diego Jota, really like the look of him. I think that he's, I want to find a way to get him into my team. Obviously, with the Spurs upcoming game week, I'm strongly considering Son if he can, you know, get back to fitness. Potentially Bale, although, you know, double game week, how many minutes is he going to play in that? Is it going to be more like a single game week for him, given that his minutes do seem to be managed a little bit? The other team that I'm really interested in, you know, fighting at the top of the table with a really nice run of fixtures is Leicester. And, you know, they've got lots of good assets, you know, potentially Vardy, potentially. For my team is, you know, Ignacio. I think that, you know, removing Watkins for him makes a lot of sense. And that's probably a move that I'm going to make at some stage. Watkins has flattered to deceive quite a lot this season, and it's certainly a transfer on my wildcard that I played, you know, several weeks ago is a transfer which I certainly regret. And I was kind of holding on to him for the blank game week because I knew he had a fixture. I've also kind of been holding on to him because I thought the Everton versus Aston Villa match would be rearranged, but I've kind of had enough now. You know, as you can see, I'm benching him against Fulham at home, which kind of says it all, really. That could change, especially, you know, if it looks like Grealish is going to be back into the frame, and, you know, he could give Aston Villa sort of a new lease of life. So I may end up playing Watkins, but it's difficult. You know, do I bench Lingard? Do I bench Gundogan? I don't want to bench any of my other players. You know, certainly not Fernandes, Salah, Rafinha, Bamford, or Kane. So it would have to be one of those three, and you know, at the moment it's Watkins, but you know that certainly may change. But overall, happy with the team, happy with how it's set up. Navigating the upcoming blank and doubles is going to be crucial, so I'll definitely be saving a transfer this game week, and yeah, having a clearer picture next game week in terms of, you know, the likes of Watkins, the likes of Ignacio, who I'm plan to transfer in, you know, what their situation is, and getting a little bit more information. But for this game week, pretty happy with the team, pretty happy with how it's set up. If you did enjoy this video, then please do drop it a like, and please do consider subscribing to Fantasy Football Hub if you're not already. But otherwise, good luck for Game Week 30, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye for now.